Welcome back to another episode of Palm Harbor Local. Today, we're sitting down with Henry Smith, and you work with Haibu Digital Marketing. Welcome.
Yes. Yes. Thank you. Thanks for having me here. Great to be here. Great to see you again.
Yep. Yeah, I'm excited to kind of dive into this and just dive into your background a little bit. So I want to start there and just how did you get started with digital marketing with Haibu? Because it's only been a short period of time, relatively,
Mhm.
that you've been doing this. So how did all that come about?
Well, it's been about 6 months with Haibu, and it's a post-COVID career change for me. I was in a similar market to yours, fractional vacation real estate
Yep.
in exotic places like Maui, Cabo, Cancun, and
Sounds like I'm selling real estate in the wrong place.
it's not, yeah, except you can raise a family here and set
Yeah.
roots. I'd go from island to island or beautiful spots, but in third world countries, and believe it or not, that gets a little old. So after COVID hit, and that whole industry kind of shut down for about a year, it was a great opportunity to reinvent myself. And I knew I wanted to do something where I could still help people,
Hmm.
right? But I could kind of use a little bit more of my MBA and that, business acumen, if you will.
Okay.
And digital marketing is cool because like we focus on small to medium sized businesses,
Okay.
not the huge companies, right? Not the tiny little shop either, but kind of like your market for, sorry about that. Got to keep that on in
Yeah.
case,
You
right?
never know.
Um, and that's really what keeps our economy going, right?
Yeah.
And the thing I like about it, not to sound corny, but like you're having a direct impact on helping people put food on the table for how they raise their families, how
Hmm.
they put their kids through college. And so I feel a huge responsibility with that. But also kind of it's rewarding, right?
Hmm. Yeah. So what was it? What was your mindset like going through that COVID transition of, your career shut down? And how long have you done sales in that sort of real estate
Oh gosh,
before it shut
I
down?
had done that about 15, 18 years.
Yeah. So for a long period of time, like that was what you were doing. And
Right.
for it to shut down on something that you have like zero control over, like how do you make that transition and like your mindset to go through and figure all that out?
Well, it's kind of tough. It's kind of funny. I joke around. It was kind of like a bad country western song there for a little while, right? Lost, post COVID, industry crushed, wife left, but the Jeep works and I got the dog. So that's the good stuff. But I really kind of feel like, life is 20% what happens to you and 80% what you do about it.
Mm-hmm.
And the good news is I had been looking, well, not looking, but I had not really been happy or fulfilled with what I'd been doing for a while,
Okay.
but the money was really good,
Okay.
right? And had a family to support. And so it wasn't the right time to kind of take a jump and a change.
Yeah.
My daughter just turned 22 yesterday, by the way.
Oh, happy birthday.
Today's the 15th, right?
Yeah.
On Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
She's celebrating in Europe.
Cool.
So I wish we were doing the podcast with her
Yeah.
out there, right? And when she, moved out doing her thing and my wife left, it was a great opportunity to kind of explore something new.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So I took that opportunity to be like, hey, let's reinvent. And I actually looked at medical sales for a little while. Because
Okay.
again, I want to help people. And I liked being in the OR. I took some training with that, but
Okay.
it just being on call all the time with surgeons, it's 24 hours a day and kind of a young man's job or a young fit man like yourself, wearing lead vests and standing on your feet in surgery, carrying the, cases for spine surgery. It was a bit much. So I kind of transitioned from that. A friend talked to me about digital marketing. Hey, you'd be a perfect fit for this. And I kind of just fell into it. Fortunately,
Yeah.
When you put your feelers out and you're open to things, right? I think the right thing comes along.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's pretty cool. So it's kind of like the mindset of, you going through like you were almost ready for a change. And then, the change happened whether you were ready or not.
Right. I had already taken some online real estate finance classes
Cool.
from Harvard,
Yeah.
and was thinking about doing a switch in that, capacity.
Yeah.
So I was already kind of thinking about it, but it just kind of sped things up. And you hear about it all the time. How often do we hear about somebody who started a company or did something great? They wouldn't have done it if they hadn't been either miserable at their previous job
Yeah.
or there had been a layoff or something like that. And COVID changed things for a lot of people,
Yeah.
you know? So yeah, it was all for the best. I wouldn't want to repeat
Yeah.
those
Right.
first 2 years necessarily,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? But also got me out here. I love Florida. It's a great mix of still tropical
Mm-hmm.
beaches, but it's not as remote or expensive as Hawaii.
Sure.
And it has, better healthcare than some third world countries, right?
Yeah.
So it's a nice fit.
Yeah. I like that. So let's talk about digital marketing.
Okay.
And like we were talking before a little bit, for the small business owner, it can seem daunting. So where do you start as a small business owner?
Yeah, and it can seem overwhelming, right?
Yeah.
So I think you hit it on the head. Where do you start? It's just about getting started and finding someone that you can trust.
Mm,
If not me, the one thing I've found doing this about 6 months is there are a myriad of companies out there that promise the world
yeah.
and don't seem to deliver much. There's this ethereal, oh, we'll design this great site, we'll do this digitally, and they're not showing trackable results, which drives me crazy to hear.
Yeah.
But so the first thing is people realizing that, as it takes money to make money in a way, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You've got to invest in marketing or advertising for whatever your business is. And basically 10, 15 years ago, you could just go to GoDaddy, build your own website, get a website up and had your presence. And that was great.
Yeah. And you had
That
traction going to your website.
right.
Yeah.
Right. Pillowcase.com, and we sell pillowcases and
Yeah.
you might even get startup money.
Yeah.
That's not the world today. It's really changed. And Google especially, they're a lot like these guys who
Yeah.
I love but won't name names, and that they always have the updates coming along and always doing that for the latest version, the
Yeah.
latest phone. Well, Google's always changing their algorithms of what to do and how to advertise, how to rank organically. And, real estate agent near me, granite company in Clearwater,
Mm-hmm.
whatever that is. And businesses are too busy doing their thing to worry about that.
Mm-hmm.
So the biggest thing is not only getting started, but a lot of companies don't really want to think about it. It's something they want to put off, something, that they want to put off.
Yeah.
But it's such a powerful piece because when done right and effectively, one, find a company that will give you trackable results.
Yeah.
I meet with
I mean,
my
that's
clients.
important. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, imagine you selling a home and ethereally, well, you may have a house, you may not. I'm
Yeah.
not sure if it'll really be there.
And I think of it too, like billboard advertising, right? It's like you're spending thousands of dollars to put your billboard up there, your ad up there. But you can't track that. You can see how many cars drive by, but how many people are looking at it, how many people are going to your website or whatever you're
Yeah.
advertising.
You're
You have
exactly
no
right.
idea.
That's a great point. In fact, I love seeing billboards, and I'll call those companies
Oh
because
yeah.
I realize because it's not trackable, and it was huge back in the day.
Right.
A lot of print or a lot of different things, but now digitally, it's all math, and math doesn't lie.
Yeah. Yeah.
So anyone who is doing digital advertising who doesn't have measurables given to them, you're with the wrong company for
Yeah.
one.
Right.
But two, we have a dashboard where people can go in 24/7 and kind of see the metrics and the returns on
Mhm.
all that. So you're exactly right. You can measure it. And even, there are some law firms, for instance, that do great with billboards.
Yeah.
But they also do great enhancing that with us with some retargeting ad campaigns, and for pennies on the dollar, we can get that exposure out there because someone sees that, remembers later, what do? They still do a Google search.
Yeah.
Or if they're between the age of 25 and 40, they're online looking it up. And
Mhm.
before COVID, it was, I think, somewhere in the 50% range, 50, 59%. Don't quote me exactly, but somewhere in that range, people wanted to see reviews online before doing business with
Oh, yeah.
a new company,
Yeah.
right? Post COVID, it's like between 70 and 80%.
Yeah, so it's gone up.
So it's huge and it's just growing,
I
right?
wonder
And
why COVID affected that, like, why it made more people wanna see the reviews.
well, I think because more people were shopping from home, so
Oh,
I
yeah.
think digital presence became even a bigger deal.
Yeah, yeah.
Like a lot of businesses slowed down then. Digital
Mhm.
marketing increased during that time because that was the only
The
way
only
to
way, yeah.
really market,
Yeah.
So you're right, with the billboards and, having trackable, measurable returns. And then last thing on that is you should be getting profit from that. We're very proud
Mhm.
of the fact that, we give an ROI and, typically we try and target about 30%. Sometimes it's a lot more than that, and that's fantastic.
Right.
Sometimes it starts at about 15 or 20 and takes us a few months to kind of tweak things and massage it and, get it higher. But
Sure.
that's the goal. And when we say 30%, that means every month we're giving you 100% of what you paid
Yeah.
plus
Plus
30% more,
30%.
not just in revenue, but in profit.
Yeah.
So if your typical widget brings in, $500 of profit, right? How
Yeah.
many jobs do we have to get you? How many leads? How many clients? What's your conversion rate? We look at all those metrics, right? So say we bring you in trackable 100 leads through one aspect of marketing, and you have a conversion of people who call or come in your office typically of 1 out of 3,
Yeah.
right? Well, good chance we got you 30 there. And some are big, some are small. But let's say you average out for that widget of $500, 30 times 500. We can look at what we brought in versus cost and,
Yeah.
things like that. And that's a very basic
Right, right.
level, right? Because there's a lot of different aspects of it. But so the important thing with getting started, and for anybody watching this that has a local business, I do offer free digital health checks, if you will,
Cool.
kind of like an attorney does a free consult, because we may not be a right fit. I just
Yeah,
had
yeah.
someone reach out to me that, just wants a website, doesn't want any advertising. And we could do that. But I'm like, I'm not really the right fit for that client, because you need more than just a website
Yeah, yeah.
today, right?
It's gonna get you some views, some traffic, but
Right.
it's probably not gonna make you money.
And
But
you want a smart site platform too. Like the thing is people think it's still about beauty, and if you're an artist, your website better be beautiful.
yeah.
But for a typical business, it's cool to have some nice pictures and you want something that looks good and professional. But Google does not care about the aesthetics. Google cares about the content,
Yeah.
the coding, the backlinks, all kinds of other things. And, do you have the schema to make yourself easily accessible for voice searches? Because there's a lot of people today, they don't even put in. It's Alexa, find an agent near me.
Oh, yeah,
Alexa,
yeah. Yeah.
or driving along, hey, pizza or whatever it is,
Yeah. Which is
right?
crazy to kinda think about that's, how it's crazy to think about how involved the website is and the back end and all that kinda stuff, right? So,
Right.
it's challenging for a business owner to manage that themselves, and that's why you have companies like yourself that come in and take care of all of that.
Totally, exactly, and it's not exactly time efficient. Like in your world,
Yeah.
you have a beautiful home. Sometimes you have a staging company,
Yeah.
right? And you hire them to stage it because that's not your specialty, and
Right.
you're busy doing what you do and don't want to deal with that, right? And that's
Yep.
their specialty. So, yeah, exactly. And we have a lot of business here locally where we've helped a lot of people grow. That's one of the things that we like to see is we're not looking for, short term, but
Yeah.
long term. I moved out to Florida partly because of the weather and the location and what I shared earlier, which fits right into your world, which is kind of why we met,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
right.
Because kind of hard to beat again for what you do. When I know it's expensive here, but take a look at Hawaii real estate
Yeah,
or California real estate, and this is awesome compared to that. I mean, I
sure.
know it's tough in Tampa and this area, right? But it's still great
Compared
in
to other areas.
comparison.
Yeah, for sure.
And I mean, if you look at growth, Tampa Bay is just in an explosion. So great for you too, but I digress. The other reason why I moved out here was to be close to, my dad is, his health's not great, older,
Yep.
although I'm still very young. Um, so I want to be here and I want to stay here and I want to set roots.
Mhm.
So it's about growing long-term clients. And back to Haibu and why I picked Haibu. I've got on my team, I'm part of a team. My manager, if you will, has been with the company for I think 14 or 16 years. A senior rep that's kind of like a mentor for me.
Mhm.
She's been with the company 18 plus years, transferred down
Mhm.
here from Chicago
Cool.
for obvious reasons.
Yeah, warmer weather.
Right? Right. I said Chicago, but not Chicago. It's actually Michigan.
Okay.
Another
Oh,
rep
Michigan,
from
okay.
Chicago who moved out here. Same thing. But I mean, you look at our VP, he's been with the company 18 plus years. I
Wow.
mean, you don't see that in today's world
Yeah. It's usually
much,
what, a couple years and then you're on to the next
right?
gig or next
Yeah.
job. Yeah.
And one of my favorite Google online certified specialists that I use, like, I come in person. If we do that digital audit, that health check, right? I come in person, but I always have someone on Zoom with me
Yeah.
who can do the deep dive with the analytics and kind of show what their competitors are doing, the good and bad of their current website, their reviews, reputation. That's another big piece is reviews and reputation
Mhm.
digitally.
Mhm.
And he's been with the company like 14 years. So
Yeah.
uh, eh, that says a lot these days,
Oh,
So anyway,
absolutely.
that's also proof of why I'm looking to build long-term relationships with clients and people like that because how do we do that? We keep delivering results. Funny
Yeah.
how when you have the results, you show up, you deliver, which is just that alone is rare
Oh,
these
it's
days.
huge, right. Yeah. If you can
Funny how
master
you can
that.
build relationships,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. And I think it helps like your clients too to have that support and know that there's going to be the support there long term, right? Because they're in business too for the long term. They're not
Right.
starting a business and looking to exit, in 2-3 years. Like and a lot of times, like you said, like this is what's feeding their families, right?
Exactly.
So that's
I mean,
important to them.
typically,
Yeah.
not just, I think the majority of times this
Right.
is what's feeding their family. I
Yeah.
mean, you
Yeah.
have a few people. I have a buddy who's an ex-Googler. He's has another startup. That's very rare. I mean,
Yeah.
typically there's nothing more important for these business owners
Yeah.
than making that work. And they can't afford to throw money away.
Yeah.
That's why I hate hearing about sometimes they're going, well, talk to people and be like, well, man, it's like I feel like I throw up this money into my marketing campaign and hope something sticks. And it makes me like cringe,
Yeah.
and my dad growing up, had restaurants and some small businesses. And so I know what that's like,
Yeah.
you know?
And it's amazing, like in real estate, like we get bombarded all the time with, different marketing companies or lead generation companies that are trying to sell us on their services or whatever.
Right.
It's amazing how many companies that are out there, right?
Right.
That are selling that. And two, how many agents and small business owners, like you said, are just throwing money away, not really knowing who they're marketing to, what they're marketing, and just hoping for results, and just throwing money away and just doing marketing because it's what you're supposed to do.
Right.
You know?
Right. And like I just spoke with a client yesterday. We're just kind of starting our relationship and
Yeah.
had a few meetings over the last, couple months and move forward. But he was really taken advantage of previously, but he was moving offices, moving from St. Pete to Clearwater, so busy with what he was doing that some of that was being siphoned off.
Mm.
Now, he's in a place where he could afford that siphoning off, which is probably partly why he didn't notice it.
Yeah.
But
Right.
that doesn't make it not painful.
Right. Right. Right.
Doesn't mean he wants to keep doing that, right? But just hitting on the head, like you said, so many people do that. Then you have other companies that they can't afford that, man. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
$650 is the difference between the light bill being on or not.
Mm-hmm.
And a marketing company walks in and, oh my gosh, I gave these guys $2,000 for X campaign for 3 months and saw nothing. And they have such a bitter taste in their mouth that they're gun shy. I don't blame
Yeah.
them.
Right. Right.
So yeah, that's a big aspect of it. But
And maybe it's because it's not new, right? But it is newer, and it's evolving so fast too, like the digital space, that most business owners don't have a lot of knowledge around the digital space,
Right. Well, and there is also, the white elephant in the room in a way is the negative connotation of this. I mean, my own previous relationship, we're out
Yeah.
to dinner, and what is
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Right.
Uh-huh. Sure, Donnie. Uh-huh. Oh, take a picture. Like,
Yeah.
people think that's what we're talking about, and it's not. The digital marketing. I mean, sure, social media is big today, but we don't do posts or things like that. There's so many aspects. We will run ads on social media
Mm-hmm.
because just in a 10-mile radius of here, there's over 500,000 Facebook and Instagram users.
Yeah.
They all need homes. They're all going to remodel a kitchen someday.
Right.
They're all going to do all these different things. And regardless of whether we love it or hate it, we're all on these at some point.
Yeah.
And I was recently doing a search for a phone case, which you can see from the back I need but didn't get. But the reason I bring that up is, I saw this cool case. I'm like, oh, wow, I like that. Thought about it. I didn't get it. Well, a couple days later, I'm reading about my Chargers. This was before the Super Bowl when they were still in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And what do I see? An ad come up on the page, but that cool phone case, right?
Yeah.
Later, I'm on Instagram. My daughter makes her living on Instagram, by the way. And what do I see? Phone case. So there's that retargeting aspect, right? And that aspect of advertising, which is another thing that we do that's beneficial for
And
people.
that's huge too, because like not everyone makes a decision immediately like that. You need time to think about it. So it's just staying top of mind, which is kind of like what I do in real estate. It's just trying to stay top of mind with my network.
Right.
And so it's the same thing. It's just being present. Was omnipresent in different channels, and
right, ubiquitous, omnipresent, exactly. And well, we all do some aspect of searching,
right,
socializing,
yeah,
research online, right? And it's just some people do a lot more than others, but we all get caught somewhat in that cycle. And it's a matter of getting your presence out there for your business. And people don't realize that you have a lot of business say, well, we've been good with word of mouth. Well, the new word of mouth is social media and digital,
right?
And having that presence and reviews and reputation.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that Google looks at for your organic ranking. I have some businesses, they're like, man, I do a better job than XYZ. But when someone does a search for, my widgets near me, they come up.
Yeah.
And I don't even show up. Why is that? Well, there's a lot of things that go into that, right? And we help people organically to show up better. And a lot of that has to do with having a smart website. Part of it is your online reputation and reviews. You have a lot of companies out there doing great work. They've got a 4.5 Google rating, but they've got 30 reviews. And we like to help our businesses boost up to get, small businesses get between 300 and 500 reviews. Now, how do we do that? We have, an automated marketing system that they can put all their contacts in that will help invite previous clients to leave reviews, future clients, right? They can be sent a text or an email. So those things make a difference as well.
Yeah. So if you're starting a business today, like what are the things that you're setting up to make sure that you're, you have that online presence, right? It's a social media, whether that's Instagram, Facebook, a website, right? That's key. Is there anything else that you would, you think it's important to set up?
Yeah, well, even before we get to the Facebook page or whatever, it
Yeah.
starts with your foundation. Think of it like a house, and
Yeah.
that's easy for everybody. If you start on the second floor before you got that good foundation, you're in trouble. And
Yeah.
people don't realize what goes into a website today.
Mm.
Again, it's not just about having a page. It's having a what we call a smart site, just like a smartphone. And I don't want
Mhm.
to bore people with all the details because quite frankly, people just want to know how to tell time. They don't want to know how to build the watch,
Right.
right?
Exactly.
That's our job.
Yeah.
But it starts with that foundation and having your name and your address and your phone number of your business. There are over 70 online directories, if you will. We all know some of them: Google, Bing, Yelp, right? All these different pages. And part of it is tracking and making sure that all that is accurate because bots go in and change it and,
Yeah.
and that affects things. But um, you want to start with a great foundation, which is your listings correct, a smart website. You want to have your reviews set up on your page, right? And not just that you cut and paste
On, like, your
testimonials.
Google My Business page or
Right.
okay,
That and your
and your
website. Have
website.
a tag for it on
Yeah,
your website,
okay.
right? And then once you have that foundation, right, on your page, you've got to have it set up for optimized for voice searches and things that when you do advertising, it's set up to best take advantage of that. Form fills, how can people interact on your website? How are people going to stay engaged on that website?
Yeah,
How many pages do you have built out,
yeah,
right, for information and things like that? So it starts with that, and then once you have that, that's when you want to have the great party invites. Once you've got those two things going on,
yeah,
because I think of digital marketing in a way, it's like the party invites. You've got the whole party set up, and now you want to invite people to the party,
yeah.
right?
Come join in,
And
come
there's
take a look.
different aspects from organic ranking is huge. You've heard of search ads in Google, like pay
Yeah,
per click, some people call it. We do that as well. But the big thing is long term. How do you get when somebody searches, for instance, best real estate agent near me or real estate agent near me?
yeah,
How do you get yourself to show up organically better without because only some people say 15%, some say 20%, but 20% or less are those paid ads. The majority of people skip that and they go to the organic
yeah,
area, right? That is coveted real estate, bad pun intended.
yeah.
That first page on the Google search,
Yeah, yeah.
when you can get from the maps down, below that, what I'm talking about, right? A search for anything. You see the ads on
Yeah, you got
top.
3 or 4 ads.
Right, then
Right.
underneath that, you'll have maybe a maps area, and then
Mhm,
you have, beneath that, that's all the organic.
mhm,
How do you show up on that first page? And
mhm.
that's one of the things that we specialize in. And then
Yeah,
there's banner ads and display ads on different popular websites. There's, yeah, ads on Facebook and Instagram, right? So a lot of other aspects that we can do, and it depends. Different businesses are more of one and less of the other,
sure,
right? Like I shared with you, pay per click wouldn't make sense for your business for what
sure.
you do,
Right,
right?
right.
So it really just kind of depends. The best thing is to set up that audit,
That
and we can
foundation.
take a
Yeah,
look at digital, like kind of where you are now. No obligation, and worst case basis, we shake hands and part as friends, but people end up with a lot of information that
mhm,
they can, work with over the next year with whoever they're working with or on their own.
yeah.
Best case, like, wow, I didn't know. Because most people they don't know.
No.
And none of us know what we don't know,
Right.
right?
And
But
there's so much that goes into it. It's hard to as a business owner, it's just hard to understand and grasp everything that goes into just the website, like you were saying, just the
right,
foundation piece, you
right,
know? So,
right. But it's basically uh boils down to relationship building and trust.
yeah.
Having somebody because our goal is that people are too busy. These small business owners, was with your own business and real estate, you're so busy. Who has time to deal with all that stuff?
Mhm. Yeah.
It's hard enough to book a meeting for someone to take an hour for a digital health check audit, let alone,
Yeah.
out of their time. But it's about being impactful and setting that up so that people know. Same thing with you. If I'm searching for a home and I know that I want it in Palm Harbor or even a beautiful part of Clearwater, I know that I can trust you to listen to what I want
Sure.
and not just open a search that I could do online myself,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So, same thing. It's about finding someone you can trust so that you can focus on what you do.
Yeah. I love that. And I think that's business right there, right? It's building relationships. Even if you're selling a product or whatever, you're still building a connection and relationship with your customer, right?
Hmm.
It's a relationship and then trust that you're going to deliver what you say you're going to deliver. So
Right.
it's really that simple.
And can people back it up? Do you have tangible results
Yeah.
that you can show?
Right, right. The
You know,
reviews and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
right. But, or also previous clients,
Yeah.
like one of not my personal client, but my mentor. I mentioned to you that she moved down here from Michigan,
Yeah.
right? Been in the company 18 plus years. USA Fence is a big company in the area. A lot of people have heard of them. Well, they started really small. They're one of our clients. And over the last 5 years, we've really helped them grow.
Yeah.
And they started with a very small budget. They're spending what many of us would consider a lot of money now,
Right.
every month. But their return is also, and they're all over Tampa Bay.
Yeah. And they've built up to that too.
Right.
You don't start
Right.
at the highest level or a higher level.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I
So,
love that. So I want to wrap up with one last question before we let you go.
okay.
And being new to the area, I'm kind of curious what your thoughts are on this. But if you had to pick outside of work,
Okay.
if you had to pick one place to visit, where are you going to? Could be a restaurant, could be a park, could be the beach, wherever. You got one spot.
Oh, wow. And locally, you mean? You're not talking about a vacation spot.
Yeah. Locally, yeah.
For me, it's the beach.
Yeah.
For me, it's definitely the beach.
Do you have any favorites right now?
I'm still exploring. I
Okay.
mean,
Yeah.
I couldn't pick just one.
Yeah.
My gosh, I like taking my dog for a walk down Clearwater Beach.
Okay.
Recently went down to St. Pete Pier. I love that.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
I love water. Even river walk, exploring that was
Mhm.
amazing.
Mhm.
I have yet to make it up to Palm Harbor.
Yeah.
Your area. We've talked about a couple cool places
Yeah.
up there, but I am definitely sunset on the beach. That tropical vibe. I think we're
Yeah.
really blessed to have a city here and great healthcare, safe environment,
Mhm.
and yet these beautiful beaches,
Yeah.
right here.
It is. I had this. So I went and watched the sunset with my daughter last night, and I mean, it's beautiful out, right? And then I was driving. There's parts of like Dunedin or Palm Harbor, or even Clearwater, where you're driving the road and you can see, you get a glimpse of the water and stuff, and just that little glimpse or view of the water, totally changes things, right? It's just very
Yeah.
cool to take a look at that.
Yeah, going over that bridge to get in Clearwater Beach
Yeah.
from Clearwater.
Yeah.
But I think we were just talking. You sent that email, and we were talking about maybe meeting for coffee someplace up by where you live. But I replied to you. I don't even remember the name of the causeway. This is really bad. It's that
The
long.
Courtney Campbell.
Thank you, the Courtney Campbell.
Yeah.
Driving over that, and there's actually a walking path on the side.
Yeah.
I
Right.
take my ridge back down. You can get in 2-3 miles, and around sunset. I mean, yeah, there's cars going over the bridge, but it's just so beautiful.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of part of Honolulu. But as
Oh,
you
cool.
said, the sunsets here,
Yeah.
they're I've been blessed to be around some beautiful water in a lot
Yeah.
of places, different
Yeah.
Hawaiian islands, right? Cabo, Cancun, Bahamas, US Virgin Islands, British Virgin Islands.
Yeah.
And our sunsets here are
Yeah.
pretty gorgeous.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's cool
know?
to hear.
So I know that you can answer questions, but I've got to ask you if you had
Yeah.
one place to visit by a beach,
Yeah.
where would it be?
By a beach?
Or on the water.
Yeah. Yeah.
Restaurant or cafe or something.
There's a really cool place on like the Dunedin Causeway. and I can't I think
Oh,
it's
okay.
called High and Dry. The High and Dry
On which causeway?
on the Dunedin
Okay.
Causeway.
Okay. I
Yep.
don't know that one.
So going out to Honeymoon Island State Park, I believe it's called the High and Dry, and they just serve. It's a little restaurant. They don't, decent food
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
drinks
Yeah.
and that sort of stuff. But you're right on the water there. It's on the beach, so you can grab your drink, grab your, your Corona or whatever, and put your feet in the sand and watch
Awesome.
the sunset there. Right. So,
Awesome.
um, I think that's one of my. That's a cool spot.
I'll have to check that. I haven't been up there
Yeah.
yet. Down south, if I were to give one cafe or something,
Yes.
the free plug, so to speak. I love that little Patrona cafe on the
Yeah.
water. You can get coffee in the morning. Down in, I'm not sure if that's still Clearwater or St. Pete,
Yeah.
but Patrona Cafe, it's right next to the Getaway. It kind of smart because the Getaway restaurant, they have in the mornings and during the day, that real estate right there not being used. So they opened up Patrona Cafe
Yeah.
on the same property. And it's just awesome to sit there, look out on the water, have a great latte or coffee,
Mhm. Yeah.
and now I think they're opening up a cigar bar at
Oh,
night
really?
right there on the water too,
Cool.
which is new. And no, they're not one of my clients. So I'm not trying to plug a client,
Yeah.
but and that's a good spot. It's just a little farther south for me or for you,
Yeah.
but it's a great place too.
It is just a cool vibe. We met there for coffee, obviously, and
Yeah,
just it's unique to our
right.
area, which is cool.
Yeah,
So
very much so. So
awesome. Well,
thank you
y
for having me
yeah, I
here.
appreciate you. How can we'll link everything in the description below, but what's the best way for people to reach out to you if they're interested in just kinda learning more?
The typical way, email, text.
Okay.
I always have my cell phone is probably the easiest, and that'll be linked up, right?
Yep.
And also my email, but call or text is the quickest way to get a hold of me.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll put
So
that in the description. So thanks again, Henry. I appreciate it.
yeah, thanks for having me. It's been fun.
Yep.